Welcome to the Superintend Podcast with Superintendent of Public Instruction, Debbie Critchfield. This podcast is a way to highlight important issues in education, success stories in our state, and talk about the work we do at the Idaho Department of Education. Each episode is about 10 minutes long, so we call it the Superintend. On this episode, we have the opportunity to speak to Julia Lauch, Idaho's newest state forester.
Julia Lauch, welcome to the podcast. You have an incredible title, State Forester. Not many people get that title. Tell me a little bit about that.
About the role itself?
Yes.
Oh gosh, no one's asked me that question exactly. Well, first off, I'm the Division Administrator for Forestry and Fire within the Idaho Department of Lands. And so that's the bureaus that manage the policy and procedures for most of our forestry assistance and fire program. State Forester is a title that is delegated from the director. The title and responsibilities have been delegated to me in addition to my position as the division administrator. The State Forester is kind of a special title, actually. There aren't that many. Each state has one and some of the territories, and that's about it. It's considered the top position within state government as a forester.
So does that mean you're in charge of all the trees in Idaho?
That means I care about all the trees in Idaho. Forest health, fire risk mitigation, all of that.
What got you into this as a background?
I accidentally started fighting wildland fire right outside of high school.
Okay.
I needed a summer
as
job.
I was going to say, as in a fire presented itself and you became a firefighter
Nope,
on the spot? Okay.
I needed a summer job. I
Nice.
was looking for something to help pay
A lot
for
of our
college.
youth do that now, and I love that.
It's a fantastic way to pay for college, as well as to get some really good, hardworking labor experience.
So through that, just through school and just you became very interested in, administrator leadership role over how we're managing forests.
I've always enjoyed being outside. And so 2 seasons of fighting fire I decided to change my major and studied forest management at Oregon State University.
Oh, wonderful.
So this is my 25th fire season. I've been in wildland fire and forestry since I was 17.
So for the listener who may be thinking, why is Debbie talking about forests? I thought she only talked about education. As the state superintendent, I sit as a land board commissioner, and the state lands feed the state endowment, which goes directly into public education. And last year, I got to hold a large check, both figuratively and literally, for $66 million that went right into the public schools budget. And of that check, of that $66 million, 90% of that endowment came through timber sales on Idaho's lands. Talk to me a little bit about the forests and the lands. What does that look like? For someone who is new to this, what does that look like in Idaho?
So this is one of the coolest things, I think, about working for the Idaho Department of Lands, specifically for the state in Idaho. The endowment lands are spread all across the state, and they range from highly productive timberland to rangeland. And the department is mandated to manage those lands for the long-term financial benefit of the endowments, which is largely public education in Idaho. And so the department staff manages those lands for their best use. So their grazing leases, their recreation leases, and then there's a lot of land that's managed by our foresters for timber production.
What do you see as the preeminent issues around land management, forests, just all of the things that we talk about when it comes to our state? Very large state, a lot of federal lands, a lot of state lands. There has to be just many spinning plates around these things. What tops your mind as issues that either you're solving or goals that you have?
Well, like I said, I care about all the trees. And actually, I come from a family that does. My grandpa was a forester, and my other grandpa was a logger in the Northwest for generations, actually. And I enjoy being outside. So forest health issues, insect and disease, wildfire, none of those things respect boundaries. So all of the ownership affects each other. And in Idaho, we have a huge percentage of federal land. We have quite a bit of state land. We have highly productive industrial timberland, and we have smaller landowners that also manage their lands for trees as well. And then, of course, we have all of the population centers, and so many people come to Idaho to enjoy the outdoors.
The recreation, I think, is a big part of the management of those lands, how we preserve it so people can recreate. But also, I've learned in the few years that I've been now on the land board that you can also make people mad if you're too overly protective of the lands, because we feel as though, hey, these are the lands in our state, we should be able to use them. So finding that sweet spot probably is not as easy as it might sound.
I would agree with that. I think we're lucky within the Department of Lands and the Endowment Lands mission that there is a pretty simple, straightforward, like bottom line mission. But people value the land for different reasons. And in other places like federal land and some of the other state lands that are non-endowment owned, there can be struggles with balancing the values and trying to take care of and care for each individual's values of the land, whether that's recreation or sustainable active timber management or something else.
You have no shortage of things to do,
No.
I'm sure. As you travel the state and you see where we are now, clearly that is your job to be the lead manager and to work with different agencies, both and private and public. What do you take away from this at the end of the day when you think about what you're in charge of?
Well, I just started this position the beginning of January this year. It's been probably the wildest year of my career so far, and that's largely because of the change with the federal administration and the unknowns and uncertainties with some of our federal partners. I am proud to say within Idaho, I believe the Department of Land has a great reputation and great relationships with our partners, with different federal agencies, with timber industry, with other environmental organizations, conservation groups that truly care about the land. And I think I'm excited to see where we go in the future to maintain and improve those relationships and continue to do the best we can for the land in Idaho for the citizens.
And as I've said, it drives that endowment, which directly benefits our schools. And that's so incredible. What would you have Idahoans know about lands, forests, et cetera, in Idaho? What's something that you think, hey, I wish more people knew X? She's thinking,
that's
everyone.
A really big question.
I know.
Well, first I would say that I hope that everybody knows that the individuals that work for the Idaho Department of Lands, specifically the foresters that manage the endowment land, truly care. And that is part of the reason I've stayed with state government in forestry and wildland fire, regardless of other opportunities, because I have found that state government employees that work in natural resources truly care about the land within the state for the benefit of the people that live and visit the state.
I think that's a pretty good explanation. I have to ask you, what's your favorite tree?
Oh,
Do you have a favorite?
Oh,
or one that you like them all?
I don't know that I like them all. I don't like the fruit trees that make a mess in my yard.
Yeah, you must be. I'm thinking of my own apricot tree that was blossoming, and we loved it for a few weeks, and then they're just irritating. But
yes,
anyway,
I don't think I could pick a favorite tree.
I think for Idahoans to get out and explore the incredible state that we live in, I have really come to just a deeper appreciation for what our state has, and for the good people like yourself that are managing it in ways that not only make it nice just to live here, but make it safe from fires, manage it for growth, for economic reasons. And I hope that as people are driving around and they're looking at forests or they're just camping or whatever, that they're thinking, hey, there's a lot of good people behind the scenes, not literally behind the trees watching you, but behind the scenes, making it making this state what it is and managing, like you say, rangelands and forests and all of that. So
active management can go a long ways to keep the landscape healthier, more productive for the lands where we are trying to produce revenue for some purpose, as well as safer to recreate in.
I have to think that you have one of the coolest jobs in the state.
I agree.
And I'm happy that you're on the team, and we're really excited. And so, Julia, thanks for taking time to join us on the podcast today. Our episode and guest on this episode of the podcast has been IDL State Forester Julia Lauch. The Superintend podcast is produced by the Idaho Department of Education. Episodes are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. They can also be streamed on YouTube and the department's website, sde.idaho.gov. Until next time, I'm Superintendent Debbie Critchfield. Thank you for listening.